What's up, everybody? It's your boy Joshua Edwards, live from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome to Joshua's Proximity. So, I told you on last episode that we were going to be diving into my picks for preseason. But before I get to that, let's talk about today. So today is officially, you can call it week 2, but it's officially week 1 of the NFL preseason. Today we got a couple games, bro. Really exciting games at the helm. So to begin with, a lot is at stake for the Indianapolis Colts and the Anthony Richardson saga. So the Colts play the Baltimore Ravens right now, and there has been a lot of back and forth between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones for the starting spot. And as you look at it currently sitting, Daniel Jones was the first quarterback taken in his draft. Anthony Richardson was the biggest project in 2 years ago's draft. But right now, the time is ticking for Anthony Richardson. He is on the clock. I got a couple homeboys that are Colts fans. Really only 2 people that I know that are Colts fans. One is a huge believer in Anthony Richardson. I've been saying it since he entered the league. The dude is a bust. And it might not be the correct terminology for him right now because he was a project guy coming into the league. He hasn't been healthy his entire career. But when you're taken at the 4th, the 3rd overall spot, and you're not producing, and it is a make or break year, you got to be labeled as a bust right now. And I think it's a healthy competition. They said that Anthony Richardson is going to be starting in the preseason game to begin with, and then Daniel Jones is going to transition to the second half. And there's just so much at stakes with the Indianapolis Colts because, one, a lot of guys have given up on Daniel Jones. The Giants signed him, and then they ended up releasing him midway through last season once they understood that they paid the wrong person, that they should have paid Saquon Barkley instead of Daniel Jones. You end up cutting him, and now you're at a point in your career where you can revamp your career. You're getting paid more than Aaron Rodgers. You are in a prime spot to win the starting job. And then Anthony Richardson. There's not too much that I can say about you. You've been a project guy. You haven't played a lot of games since the time you were in high school. You only played 1 season at the University of Florida. You haven't played a full season yet in the National Football League. It's make or break time. So let's go through tonight's games on who I got in my pick. So the Colts versus Ravens, obviously, like I stated before, if you are betting on preseason, get help. If you're betting on preseason, get help. The Colts versus Ravens, I'm going to go with the Ravens. They just always seem to be a buzzsaw when it comes to preseason games. Bengals versus Eagles, you're going to see a situation where the Cincinnati Bengals are actually playing their starters to begin with. They want to come out and have a different start to the regular season this season. So you're going to see Joe Burrow. You're going to see Jamar Chase. You're going to see T. Higgins for 1 or 2 series, however long that may be, maybe a full quarter. But I like the Eagles to win this preseason game. Raiders versus Seahawks later tonight. I hope we get to see Ashton Genty. If you guys remember a couple seasons back when Saquon Barkley had the opportunity to debut in his rookie debut preseason-wise, he came in, he showed up. Had an explosive run to begin with. I think busted for like 30, 40 yards. But I like the Raiders on this game as well. Now, as we transition to tomorrow's games, we all know the biggest and most talked about offseason draft of the entire National Football League. It is the Shedeur Sanders. Now, when you look at everything, what is going on with Shedeur? He was arguably or debatably no less than the top 3 quarterback in this year's draft. You see him fall to the 5th round where the Cleveland Browns take him. Then you hear the owner say, I didn't want Shedeur Sanders. If it was up to my decision, it was up to my discretion, I never would have selected Shedeur Sanders with our draft pick. And now he's primed for a pivotal spot basically in his National Football League life. He's playing against the Carolina Panthers in the preseason game. He's going to be getting a lot of reps. Dylan Gabriel's out with injuries. Kenny Pickett's out with injuries. You're going to see the Shedeur Sanders show. I've got guys texting me saying, hey, We're going to the game on Friday night. We're going to be deep. We're going to be rooting for Shedeur Sanders. I'm rooting for Shedeur Sanders, and I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. So I just pray, and I don't want to say I just pray. I just really hope that he takes this moment and he excels in it. Everything is basically laid out there for him. With it's so much trials and tribulations, man, I hope that he's able to get to the big contract, and he's going to make sure that the Cleveland Browns pay him handsomely for selecting him late. He was not a 5th-round grade. He's going to be a guy that is expected to ball, and he hasn't been getting first-team reps. So you look at a guy that's a 5th-rounder, not getting first-team reps. He's thrown into the fire. His first preseason game ever, and he's a starter for the very first time basically in his NFL career. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do for a whole preseason game, however long they decide to keep him in there. I expect him to be ready. I expect him to make plays, and you guys should be looking forward to it too. So Shedeur Sanders versus the Carolina Panthers on Saturday. But with that being said, let's talk about Saturday's game. Saturday is a full slated. Basically, all of the NFL teams outside of 4 teams on Sunday play. The Giants versus the Bills. Once again, if you're betting on preseason, you need help. Giants versus Bills. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Texans versus Vikings. Preseason game. I'm going with the Texans. They just always seem to be ready for the moment. Going Texans. Steelers versus Jags. I want to see if Travis Hunter is going to be playing on both sides. I would love for him to see him play. I would love to see Trevor Lawrence go out there and play with Travis Hunter. Try to get him some touches. See if they can build some chemistry. I'm going with the Steelers in this matchup. The Cowboys versus Rams. I like the Cowboys in this matchup. Titans versus Bucks. Going Titans. I'm excited to see if Cam Ward actually participates. Jets versus Packers. I would love to see the Jets win this. We'll definitely want to see how Justin Fields participates. Chiefs versus Cardinals. I'm going to get to that in a split second. And then the Broncos versus 49ers. I like the 49ers in this situation. Now, me and my homeboys are literally currently texting as I'm talking. Preseason matters. If the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that just went 15-2, if they are going to be playing Patrick Mahomes versus the Arizona Cardinals in the preseason, if this is the quarterback with the most current rings, if he is playing in preseason, you should be playing in preseason. In my humble estimate, everybody needs to be playing in the preseason game. The only exceptions are elite defensive linemen, the Micah Parsons, the TJ Watts, the Myles Garrett. I don't need to see the Chris Jones. I don't need to see these dudes play because I know what they're going to do from a defensive standpoint. I know that they're going to wreak havoc. I know that they're going to cause a lot of disruptions. But everybody else needs to be playing. If Patrick Mahomes, who just went 15-2, is playing in preseason, everybody should be playing in preseason. A lot of coaches, a lot of scouts, a lot of teams are so reliant on these joint practices that is causing their teams to fall by the wayside in the first 4 weeks. And you saw it last year with the Cincinnati Bengals. By the time they went on that 5-game winning streak, right as they were about to make a playoff push, if you go back and look at week 1, they lost to the New England Patriots. If they win that game, they're in the postseason. So when you just look at everything from a snapshot, guys got to play preseason. Preseason matters. If you don't think preseason matters, why did Tom Brady play preseason? If you don't think preseason matters, why did Peyton Manning play preseason? The greats do it. Get your guys involved. There's nothing like game speed, especially when it's live. Joint practices, quarterbacks can't get hit. If they do get hit, it's a fight going on. So coaches, scouts, players, go out there and play. If Patrick Mahomes is playing, everybody else in the National Football League should be playing a preseason game. But with that being said, Chiefs versus Cardinals, I like the Chiefs in that situation. Sunday slated is for the Dolphins versus what is this? I don't know. I gotta actually look at it. Dolphins versus somebody, but Dolphins versus Bears. I like the Bears in this matchup. I pray that. Let me stop saying I pray. No, I do pray. I hope that Caleb Williams is able to play. Colston, Loveland. I'm excited to see what he does. Saints versus Chargers. Look forward to that matchup as well. And like I said, this right here is the week 1 matchup for preseason. I know I'm kind of just stumbling over my words. I'm excited for the regular season. But without further ado, Josh's Proximity, we out, baby.